let's take a look at our top selections for the Dan Illman, Mike Beer kicking off the 50-cent late pick 4 at Belmont Park on Sunday with graded stakes action. Let's throw up the field for the Miss Grillo, a grade 2 going 1 mile and a 16th on the inner turf. Important prep race for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. Some really well-bred horses in this race. Some of them have run some really impressive and promising races, including your morning line favorite, the only two-time winner in the field, Plum Alley.
This is a great race, Dan. Obviously, when all is said and done, there can only be one winner of this race. But when you're just handicapping it and going through these horses one by one, there's no wrong answer. Every one of these fillies has run really, really well on the way into this race.
Let's throw up the field for the Timeform US Pace Projector. Pace Projector Chicklin on the front end, the 4 Caldi, no surprise. Caldi went to the front last time out. Had it kind of easy on the front end that day. It'll be interesting to see if Director's Cut off the private purchase tries to show a little bit of speed. I think Mashni Girl's going to be forwardly placed, Mike, the number 3.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the pace plays out because certainly Caldi, got to the front when she broke her maiden first time on turf back at Saratoga, but she basically walked to the lead in that race and then had plenty left through the stretch. Not that she wasn't impressive, but I think it might be a little harder for her to get loose this time.
The number 1, Love Struck, just has a beautiful pedigree. She's a half to Scat Daddy by Tappet, going out for Billy Mott in her debut at Saratoga, and she didn't break very well. She saved ground at the back of the pack, and watch what happens turning into the stretch. Love Struck's the gray. Junior wants to get her off the rail. She's got some run. She's going to bang right off Mrs. Frankel, and you would think for a 2-year-old making her debut, that would be it. Not only is it not it, Junior's just going to hand ride this horse right by Freedom of the Press, who's back in here. This is a nice performance.
Yeah, very, very impressive debut for this filly, who did look a little bit green in the race. She looked a little bit green early. She was obviously green in the stretch when she made the right-hand turn and nailed that horse to her outside, but she won that race pretty easily. And I'll tell you something, Dan, Freedom of the Press, she ran a pretty good race there, and Love Struck ran right by her.
Fifth Risk, the number 2's entered main track only. She would be a very strong danger if this race is washed off of the turf. But we'll move to the 3 Mashni Girl, who will be trying turf for the first time. She's by Air Force Blue, who was a really good 2-year-old on turf overseas. Mashni Girl was a gate-to-wire winner on dirt against New York breds, but she's stepping up in distance. She's switching surfaces. She's stepping up in class. I think you send her to the front in here if she can get it, but this looks like a tough spot.
Yeah, I take back what I said at the open. I said there was no wrong answer. Mashni Girl might be the wrong answer, but I'll tell you what, she is bred for turf.
Caldi really improved second time out on turf for Brad Cox. Let's watch that race. Now, she was just able to walk on the lead. Javier got her to the front. Went a half in 49-3, opened up in the third quarter. Caldi's supposed to sprint home, and she does. She really pours it on the final 1/8 of a mile to win by open lengths. Impressive by her speed figure of 78. If she runs back to that fig, she's going to be very, very tough. Just not sure the same situation is going to replicate itself on the lead like that.
Yeah, I guess that's the real question. She was impressive, and it was a fast time in that race. Javi didn't even ask her until they got into the stretch, and once he did, she settled that race very quickly. It was impressive. It feels like it's going to be harder for her to beat this field, but you know what, Dan? She just might be really good.
Director's Cut, it looks like, was privately purchased since her last race by Gary Barber, now in the Marcassi barn. Let's watch her last race at Gulfstream. A 6th placing in the Sharp Susan Stakes behind an odds-on winner. She's in between horses right now, the number 4. I thought she ran okay in this spot. This horse, Spanish Love Affair, is very promising on the lead. Director's Cut ran okay. I think she might have to do a little bit better here, but she fits from a buyer standpoint.
Yeah, I thought she ran well in that race. I thought she ran well two back when she turned away her now stablemate Sleek Lynx, who was very green, but that horse might be okay. And Director's Cut, I thought, ran well to beat that horse. And then last time, she made a long run in that race, Dan. They were asking her to come forward from a long way out. She ran all the way around the turn, and she kept coming through the stretch. I don't know. I thought that she ran maybe even deceptively well last time.
I think it's a good sign that Chad Brown's running Freedom of the Press right back in here, even though this horse is still a maiden. We saw her finish second to Love Struck in the video earlier on. She's by first crop sire Emshawish, who was equally good on dirt and turf. And I thought she ran okay in her debut. It was a good learning experience. She was in front of Love Struck in the early portion of that race, got out, got to the front, and Love Struck ran her down.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't really have an excuse in there. And, I sort of get the idea that it's tough to take her over Love Struck this time when Love Struck just, sort of handled her so easily in that race. But this horse could really improve in this spot. And it does feel like, I agree with you, it feels like a good sign that Chad's running her back in here.
I think it's a good sign when Graham Motion sends out a debut winner that wins like this. Let's watch the number 7 Batya's debut at Belmont. Only about 15 days ago. Far outside, a lot of work to do. The number 12, she's on her left lead right now for Jose Lizcano. These horses on the lead are starting to get a little bit tired. Batya switches leads, she accelerates, and she gets up with a 71 buyer. And Graham's second-time starters often do pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I thought she looked good winning this race. Maybe it wasn't a good field, but they raided her to the back of that field early. Jose Lizcano never really asked her to get into the race until they came to the stretch. And then once he set her down, I like the run that she came with. She feels like a horse who's going to be a price in this race. Another filly who might have a lot of talent.
The only two-time winner in the field's up next. Christophe Clement trains Plum Ali, debut winner at Saratoga. Backed it up with this nice performance at Kentucky Down. She was the favorite that day. She did not disappoint. Let's watch it right now. We're turning into the stretch. She's going to get off the inside right now in the yellow cap. She's got a clear run, 4 paths off of the rail, and Tyler Gaffalion's riding her with a lot of confidence. She just spurts past these horses on the lead, and she goes about her business, and you get a look at her. She just looks like a big, precocious 2-year-old that's just filled out and maybe more mature than some of these other ones right now.
Yeah, that's winning with complete authority there. She crushed that field. And she looked similarly good first time out, Dan, where they just took her back, waited until they came to the stretch, and she came with a good finish running right by that field. This filly just looks really good to me, at least right now. Clement's off to a wicked hot start at Belmont. It just feels like everything he puts on the track is running. And this filly, in a lot of ways, as good as this field is, she just looks like the horse to beat.
Completing the field is the 9, editor at large for Chad Brown. Bet down to favoritism for the debut at Saratoga. Let's watch that race right now. I thought the runner-up, also trained by Chad, ran well. Domain Expertise shows a nice burst in between horses and the red cap to take the lead. Editor at large is outside, and editor at large just says, no, you don't. Domain Expertise tried very hard, but editor at large was better.
Oh, yeah, and better by a lot, too, I think. And you're right, though. The runner-up ran a nice race in there, got a good trip, splitting horses in the stretch there with the momentum, too. An editor at large just turned her away, and I thought did it pretty impressively. I think she's going to be really tough in this race. I wonder what kind of price she's going to be. 5-1 on the morning line, that's more than fair for this horse whose debut was really, really good. I think she might come down from there.
I have a feeling she might come down a little bit as well, but she is in arrears from a buyer standpoint from Plum Alley, again, the only 2-time winner and a stakes winner. Let's take a look at our top selections for the Grade 2 Miss Grillo. I'm going with Plum Alley. You're going with Plum Alley. You're going 8-5-7-9. Cal D is interesting to me. I'm curious to see how she'll do without a Candy situation on the lead.
I am too, but you know what, Dan? I'm interested to see how all these fillies are going to do in here. I think there's a lot of quality in this field. I put Plum Ali on top. I realize that she's probably the favorite. I just like her 2 races. I tried to sneak Director's Cut in there just because I feel like she is going to be a price in this race, and I think she's run well in each of her last 2 starts.
8-5-7-9 for Mike, 8-4-1-5 for me as we kick off the Sunday late pick 4 at Belmont Park with the Grade 2 Miss Grillo. Approximate post time 4:12 Eastern. Good luck.